The sun hung high above the quiet suburban park, its golden light glinting off the playground swings and polished slide. But the stillness shattered in an instant. The harsh sound of boots scraping against gravel, mocking laughter echoing between the trees. A man in a worn denim jacket stood frozen, his jaw clenched tight, shielding two trembling children behind him. His eyes, a storm of exhaustion and quiet resolve, locked onto the group of thugs advancing with cruel smiles. "Back away now," he said, his voice low, steady, carrying the kind of warning that came not from arrogance, but from a man who had lost too much to lose again. If you believe that courage, kindness, and second chances still exist in this world, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Your support helps us spread more stories that remind the world that compassion still wins. His name was Marcus Hale, a single father and a mechanic who worked long hours at a small auto shop near the city docks. The two children clutching his jacket were not his own. They were Lena and Liam Hartley, the billionaire twins of a powerful tech magnate. Just an hour ago, the world had seemed normal enough. Marcus had been changing the oil on a delivery van when a sleek black SUV screeched to a stop outside his workshop. The driver, wounded, panicked, had begged for help, saying the car had been attacked and the two kids inside needed safety. Before Marcus could even react, the man handed him the keys and whispered, "Don't let them find the twins." Then he collapsed unconscious, blood trickling down his sleeve. Now, standing between the frightened children and the men who clearly meant harm, Marcus realized he was caught in something far larger than he'd ever imagined. The thugs were tall, muscled, tattoos crawling up their necks like vines. One of them grinned cruelly. "Hand over the kids, old man. You don't know who you're dealing with." Marcus shifted slightly, putting himself fully in front of the twins. "And you don't know what I'm willing to do," he replied. His heart pounded, not from fear, but from instinct, the primal force that rises in any parent when children are in danger. He didn't have a weapon. He didn't have a plan. All he had were calloused hands, a lifetime of hard work, and a heart that had learned how to stand firm even when everything else was falling apart. The leader of the group, a bald man with a scar across his cheek, stepped closer. "You think you can stop us, grease monkey?" he sneered. Marcus didn't answer. He simply stared back, his breathing slow and even. Behind him, Lena whimpered softly. She was no more than 8, her hair tied in twin braids, her brother clutching her hand tightly. "Don't be scared," Marcus whispered under his breath. "You're safe. I promise." Then everything happened fast. One of the thugs lunged forward, grabbing Marcus by the shirt collar. Marcus moved instinctively, shoving the man backward with a strength born of desperation. The thug stumbled, cursing, and Marcus yelled to the twins, "Run to the slide. Stay low." They obeyed, dashing toward the playground equipment as the men regrouped. Marcus took a punch to the ribs, then another to the jaw, his knees nearly buckling. But he didn't fall. He swung back, his fist connecting with a solid crack. The leader staggered. "You made a mistake?" the man growled. "No," Marcus said, spitting blood. "You did, when you scared those kids." By the time the sound of approaching sirens sliced through the chaos, the men had fled into the nearby alleyways, disappearing like smoke. Marcus sank to one knee, breathing heavily, his knuckles bleeding. The twins ran to him, tears streaming down their faces. Lena threw her arms around him. "You saved us," she sobbed. Marcus smiled weakly. "That's what dads do." But the story didn't end there. It was only beginning. When the police arrived, so did a convoy of luxury vehicles. From one of them stepped Evelyn Hartley, the children's mother, a woman of poise and power, her tailored white suit streaked with dust, her face pale with worry. When her eyes fell on Marcus, something softened in her expression. "You're the one who protected them?" she asked. Marcus nodded, still catching his breath. "Just did what anyone would," he said. Evelyn looked at the officers, then at Marcus again. "No," she whispered, "most people wouldn't." That evening, as the sun dipped below the skyline, Evelyn insisted that Marcus come to her estate. The twins refused to leave his side, and despite his hesitation, he agreed. He followed their convoy up a winding hill road, where a mansion stood overlooking the sea, surrounded by manicured gardens and white stone columns. Marcus felt completely out of place as he parked his old pickup beside the line of black sedans. His clothes were torn, his lips split, and yet Leonard and Liam tugged at his hands like he was family. Inside, the house gleamed with marble floors and crystal chandeliers. Staff members whispered, curious about the stranger who'd saved the heirs of the Hartley fortune. Evelyn dismissed them with a wave, leading Marcus to the sitting room. "You've done something extraordinary today," she said quietly. "How can I repay you?" Marcus shook his head. "You don't owe me anything, ma'am. I just did what was right." Evelyn studied him for a long moment. She had built her billion-dollar empire from the ground up after her husband's death, but her success had cost her dearly: trust, warmth, and the simple belief that there were still good people left in the world. Looking at Marcus, she saw something rare, an honest man who didn't see her wealth, only her children's fear. "Then at least let me offer you a job," she said finally. "Head of security for my children. I want someone who would stand in front of danger again." Marcus hesitated. He wasn't trained for such a position. He'd been a mechanic all his life. But when Lena looked up at him with wide eyes and whispered, "Please stay," his heart broke a little. "All right," he said softly, "I'll stay." Days turned into weeks. Marcus found himself living on the estate grounds, near the sea cliffs, in a small guest house with peeling paint and wildflowers climbing the windowsill. Every morning, he walked the twins to their private school, his presence a quiet reassurance. He taught them small things their world had never shown them: how to fix a bicycle chain, how to skip stones across the water, how to breathe when they were scared. Evelyn watched from a distance, her guarded heart beginning to thaw. But danger wasn't done with them yet. One afternoon, while Marcus and the twins were in the garden, a car screeched up the driveway. The same group of men jumped out, this time armed and furious. The leader shouted, "You think you can hide forever?" The twins froze. Marcus turned slowly, the same calm fire in his eyes as before. "Stay behind me," he said again, those same words that had saved their lives before. The men charged. Marcus moved without hesitation. He grabbed the metal rake leaning against the fence, swinging it with precision. A blow to the arm, a shove to the chest. The chaos erupted in shouts and breaking glass. Evelyn ran from the mansion, screaming for security, but Marcus was already between the twins and danger, his strength fueled by something far deeper than fear. One man raised a gun, but before he could pull the trigger, police sirens blared once more. Evelyn's security team swarmed the scene, pinning the thugs to the ground. Marcus dropped the rake, his chest heaving. The twins ran to him again, clinging to his waist, crying. Evelyn stood frozen, watching the man who had risked his life again, for children who weren't even his. That night, after the police took the men away, Evelyn found Marcus sitting outside by the garden steps. The sea wind brushed through his hair, the stars reflected in his tired eyes. "Why did you do it?" she asked softly. "You could have run. You could have hidden." Marcus looked out at the waves. "Because no one stood up for my daughter when she needed someone," he said. Evelyn's breath caught. "Your daughter?" Marcus nodded slowly. "Her name was Hazel. She passed away 3 years ago. Car accident. I wasn't there to protect her." His voice trembled. "So when I saw those kids, I couldn't let it happen again." For a long time, there was only silence between them, broken by the sound of the ocean below. Evelyn knelt beside him, her eyes glistening. "Then maybe," she said, "you were meant to be here, for them and for me." In the days that followed, the Hartley estate felt different. Laughter returned to its halls. Evelyn found herself smiling more often, her children chasing Marcus across the garden, calling him coach and uncle. He taught them courage, humility, and how to believe that kindness was strength, not weakness. The tabloids eventually called him the mechanic who saved the Billionaire twins, but Marcus never cared for fame. He was just grateful that, for once, he was able to keep his promise to protect. As the golden sun rose one morning over the sea, Marcus stood at the cliffside with Lena and Liam beside him, their small hands gripping his. Evelyn joined them, quietly slipping her hand into his. For the first time in years, Marcus felt peace. He had found not just redemption, but a family that saw his heart. If this story touched your heart or reminded you that bravery often comes from the kindest souls, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Your engagement helps us bring more real, emotional stories that restore faith in humanity. And before you scroll away, take a moment to comment. Kindness still exists, if you believe that one good person can still make a world of difference. Because sometimes, all it takes to change a life is someone willing to stand up and say, "Back away now."